A very good afternoon to you. Welcome to another edition of Scoreline. My name is Robinson Okenya. Remember, it's Sunday, and when it's Sunday, we do have your top moments of the week. What has made headlines in the week, events that inspired during the week. And it has been a week where we saw lots of stuff happen when it comes to sports. Remember, arguably the best player in the planet, that's Lionel Messi, scored his 100th European goal. We also had, Manchester United lost yesterday, their first loss of the season, and that was against Huddersfield, rather, in the English Premier League. So the title credentials for Manchester United right now looking very shaky, looking at the way they played yesterday's match. It has also been a week where the NBA, was back. The NBA, we had the defending champions, the Golden State Warriors, losing 2 of their first 3 matches, while on the other hand, Cleveland are on a roll. So it has been a week that we've seen lots happen in sports, but we want to start off today's edition of Scoreline on a good note, where Kenya's Joycelyn Jepkosgei kept her stellar 2017 momentum alive at the Valencia Trinidad Alfonso Half Marathon, taking 1 second off our own world record to win the IAAF Gold Label road race in 1 hour, 4 minutes and 51 seconds. Jepkosgei dug deep in the closing stages, and by the 20-kilometer mark, she was only 5 seconds in arrears her world record goal with a thrilling run down the final straight. Jepkosgei beat the clock and reached the finish line in 1 hour, 4 minutes and 51 seconds. This is a 6th world record that she's broken this year. So still while at athletics, we go to Madoka Half Marathon, where Isaac Kipkoech and Lance Kiprop were in fine form to be crowned the new champions of the 12th edition of the Safaricom Madoka Half Marathon after winning both men and women's races respectively. In the well-attended race at Ngerenyi Farmers Training Center in Taita Taveta County, 25-year Kipkoech from Kericho Athletics Club won the men's race in one of the most competitive races, while 34-year-old Kiprop emerged victorious in the women's category. The event was graced by Taita Taveta County Governor Granton Samboja and event founder Masden Madoka.
Anakuja kumaliza maridadi kabisa. Ndio nafasi ya pili. Nafasi ya tatu anakuja kumaliza. Nafasi ya tatu. Nafasi ya 4.
Ilikuwa ngumu kidogo ni win race, lakini ndio ningangana mpaka nikawin.
Nilikuwa nataka kuingia top 10 bora, lakini nimeng'ana, lakini nimeshindwa. Yaani sio ni shida gani. Nilikuwa nimeng'ana sana, lakini nimeshindwa kuingia top 10 bora.
Nashukuru Mungu siku ya leo nimekuwa mshindi. Sikuwa natarajia kushinda, ni mara yangu ya kwanza. Na vile niliingia sehemu hili nilitishwa sana na milima. Lakini nashukuru Mungu mazoezi yangu imekuwa nzuri. Ndipo sasa nimeweza kushinda siku ya leo.
To football now, a 1-0 win over Ulinzi Stars on Saturday in Kericho saw Gor Mahia crowned the 2017 Kenya Premier League champions for a record 16th time with 4 matches to spare. Heading into the match, Gor needed just a point to ensure they clinched the title, but they went full distance, beating the military side, courtesy of Medi Kagere's goal. Well, congratulations to Gor Mahia, their 16-time Kenya Premier League champions. So, with only 4 matches left before the league comes to an end, we take a look at, the Kenya Premier League standings and get to know who is placed where. With Gor Mahia already top of the league, and they already won the league right now with 66 points so far from 30 matches. We have Tusker, who are second with 49 points. Sofapaka, they are third with 48 points, and Homeboys Kakamega Homeboys, that is, are fourth with 45 points. So we take a look at the other teams that are on the log and see how they stand on the log. Ulinzi Stars are number 5 with 43. Posta Rangers number 6, a team that started the league very well, is number 6 with 43 points. Kariobangi Sharks at number 7 with 42 points. Nzoia Sugar, a team that got promoted into the league this season, at number 8 with 40 points. Probably if we also get to see other teams where they lie on the log. Remember, these are the first 8 teams that we have on the log right now. So we take a look at the other teams that are on the log and see where they lie, and if they'll be pushing on to make sure they get the top 8. So we take a look at the fixtures that are slated for this afternoon. The Kenya Premier League fixtures we have this afternoon. We have Muhoroni Youth taking on Kakamega Homeboys, and then we have Nakuma taking on Bandari at the Ruaraka grounds. Sofapaka, who are third place, will be taking on Western Steamer, while Thika United will be taking on Mathare United. So those are the fixtures, the Kenya Premier League fixtures that we have taking place this afternoon. And probably after this, at the end of the day, we might see changes in the Kenya Premier League log. So we now move on from the Kenya Premier League. We move on to rugby, where the final leg of the National Sevens Circuit comes to an end this evening in Kisumu, where top contenders for this year's title are battling to upstage each other. Remember, Cabras are the leaders of the log with 85 points, and following them is Impala, who have 80 points. And remember, these teams are also taking part in the Dala 7. So whoever wins probably might end up becoming this year's winner.
Time, Egerton Wasps. Egerton Wasps 5. Ubuya FC.
Well, we'll be speaking to Mike Kwambo later on from Kisumu to know, the proceedings, where they are right now, who's proceeded to the semi-finals, and who will be taking part probably in the finals later on. But we move from rugby, and now we go to hockey, where the women's national hockey team will have their workout when they face giant South Africa in the opening match of the Africa Hockey Cup of Nations Cup World Cup qualifier today in Ismailia, Egypt. Having settled for bronze in the last 2 editions of the Continental Championships, the Kenyan girls will be seeking the better results at this year's event. Let's take a look at what they had to say before they left the country.
After months of intense training, the men and women's national hockey teams have been whittled down to 36 players who will do the country duty in the 2017 Africa Cup of Nations to be held in Ismailia, Egypt between 22nd and 29th of October.
Not that the people who have not made it were not equal to the task, but the difference has been very minimal on the smaller and finer details of training, like the tactical and technical discipline and awareness. But having said that, I think the group that we've put together is a group that will make us proud.
Butali Warriors Maxwell Wakungu will lead the men's 18-man strong squad. Wakungu's experience is expected to be a source of guidance in a team comprising of 7 debutants.
But I think with the faith coaches have had in us, and ourselves as players been pushing ourselves, and we always tell ourselves, enough is enough. We got to a point where we need to give people a reason. Yeah, we want to get the gold medal. I've been in this team for the last 10 years. I always get bronze and silver. And now we want to go for the gold medal.
The tournament will not be a walk in the park. Kenya faces an uphill task against host Egypt, Nigeria, Zambia, Ghana, and defending champion South Africa.
The difference is very minimal. The gap is so small. And it depends on who wants it badly, how badly you want it on that day. And I think we're hungry enough to want it that badly.
So we want players out in the schools to come and prepare themselves to play for the Kenya team. So the future of Kenya is very exciting, and the sponsors are showing a lot of interest in the sport because we are positioning ourselves globally very well.
The winner of the tournament will head straight to the Hockey World Cup set for next year in India. Kenya will be seeking a third World Cup ticket, having finished fourth in the inaugural championships in 1971 and 12th in 1973. For over 4 decades, Kenya has been struggling to qualify for the global showpiece, but after finishing third in 2015's Africa Cup of Nations, the team is now ready to go one step further. Abdullah Ahmed, KTN Sports at the City Park, Nairobi.
Well, we are wishing the two teams, that's the men and women's team, well in their endeavors in Ismailia in Egypt. Now, we take a look at the fixtures that are set for hockey that will be taking part this afternoon. In the men's match schedule, we have South Africa taking on Zambia. We have Ghana, that will be the second match of the day. Ghana will be taking on Kenya, and remember, Ghana are hot favorites to back this year's title. And then the last match of the day will be between Egypt and Nigeria. Now we move on from the men's schedule and move on to the women's schedule. Now, Zambia was supposed to take on Ghana in the opening match, but I'm being informed that Zambia did not travel to Ismailia, Egypt, so this match was cancelled. Nigeria will be taking on Egypt later on, while the defending champion South Africa will be taking on Kenya. Remember, South Africa, the last time the two teams met, that is between South Africa and Kenya. South Africa beat Kenya 12-0, and they are the defending champions. So Kenya will have to dig deep to make sure that they come with a win from the match against South Africa. Those are the matches that are scheduled for this afternoon in Ismailia, Egypt. So moving away from hockey, now we move into volleyball, still in Egypt, where the Kenya national men's volleyball team will be seeking to upset the odds when they take on to the African Championships this afternoon in Egypt. Kenya is among the countries that will be battling for the top honors in the week-long competition, which serves on from this afternoon. Defending champions Egypt, and who are the organizers, who are drawn in Pool A alongside Niger and Congo, while Pool B features heavy favorites Tunisia, Kenya and Libya. So we take a look at the fixtures for the men in Africa Championships. In Pool A, we have Egypt, Niger, we have and DR Congo. In Pool B, where Kenya is, we have Tunisia, Ghana and Libya alongside Kenya. In Pool C, we have Cameroon, Morocco and Nigeria, while in Pool D, we have Algeria, Botswana, Rwanda and Chad. So the fixtures for this afternoon, we have to see which country Kenya will be playing in her first match. So the fixtures for this afternoon, day one program, Egypt, who are the hosts, will be opening the Africa Cup Championship against Nigeria. Then we have Libya taking on Tunisia, while Kenya will be taking on Ghana this afternoon. That is in Pool B. Cameroon will be up against Nigeria, where we have, then in Pool D, Algeria will be on against Botswana, while Ghana tackles Rwanda. So that's the match schedule for this afternoon in the Men's Africa Volleyball Championship. Of course, we are wishing Kenya well after Malkia Strikers finished second in Cameroon a week ago. So now we move from the fixtures for this afternoon in volleyball, but it has been a week where we are celebrating our heroes, and having in mind that it was Mashujaa Day on Friday, we decided to take a look at one of the sports heroes that we have in our country, and that is none other than David Lung'ao. Lynn Washira paid him a visit and brings us this story.
Mention Mashujaa Day in the country and freedom fighters rank really high on the Shujaas list. Fast forward to modern-day heroes, and sportsmen and women in the country are slowly getting there. We head to Ruiru prisons, where we get to have a sit-down and speak to former Malkia Strikers coach and prisons women's volleyball coach, David Lung'ao.
This is 2014 Magharibi Awards, where I was voted as the best coach in the country.
What is Magharibi Awards?
Magharibi Awards is the annual sports awards that honors sports people who are from Western and have really performed in all the other sports within the country. So I was honored in 2014 as the Magharibi Awards Coach of the Year. The next one here is for Soya Awards 2013, where I was also named the best coach of the year. And then this one's for my club. This is just for a local tournament. This is for 2015 again, Soya Awards. I was given again the Coach of the Year for the second time. And this one is 2013 Magharibi Awards, also Coach of the Year, Western Province. This is the second position miniature that we got recently in Cameroon. That was came back. Plus, of course, this medal. This was the silver medal that we got in Cameroon recently. But I have a host of medals. In fact, these are not all, because I have about over 50, and they are just kept elsewhere. But I think the most memorable ones that I really like, this one is one of them, that we got in 2005. It was my first time to coach the national team during the Africa Cup of Nations in Abuja, Nigeria, a very tough tournament, and we ended up as champions. Okay, personally, I don't feel like a Shujaa. I just feel like an ordinary Kenyan. To me, I think Mashujaa are those guys who have done a lot for this country. I don't want to count myself as one of them, because maybe other people will count me, but I see myself as a normal person.
Okay. So, coaches, of course, we can see all these medals, a sign of your achievements, and I'm surprised that you still don't feel like you've achieved enough. You don't feel like you've really achieved. How can you achieve so much then feel ordinary?
People think I've achieved. I feel I'm just an ordinary person because I believe I can achieve more if I have that time. So, and then you see achievement goes with recognition. If you do something and you're not recognized, then you see yourself as an ordinary person. That's why I see myself the same way.
And I'm honestly very ready to talk about your achievements this afternoon.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And welcome, please.
Thank you.
I find it so normal because I think anybody can achieve that. Why I'm saying this is because I believe I have this energy to do even more. And if time allows in terms of age, maybe I can make it even 20. But that only leave it to God. But for the 7 titles at club level, I really appreciate. Okay, my love for volleyball started a long time ago when I was still a very young boy, because my late father was a volleyballer. In fact, he's the first person who introduced me to volleyball. That is way back in 1977, when I was still a very small boy. He used to move with me wherever they were going to play, when he was still a player. So I started getting that interest in volleyball. And I never looked back, because I played volleyball from then on. I remember in primary school, in Lenana Primary School in Nakuru, I started playing volleyball while I was still in class 4. I played for Railways till the year 1994, when I joined KCB also through volleyball. And then we formed a very strong team at KCB, became the national champions for very many years, participated in the Africa Club Championships. And before then, before I even played for KCB, I had already been named in the national team in 1990, when I was still one of the youngest players in the team for the All-African Games that were held in Cairo in 1991. So I was in that team. I went, got my first international assignment in Cairo, a very tough assignment because we lost all the matches, but we played so well. And I continued to play for the national team till the year 2000, and I retired from playing. I was playing as a setter, not just a setter, a very good setter. I purposed to become a coach. First thing, from the motivation that my father was a coach, and then as I've told you, our then coach, Mheshimiwa Alfred Hangati, told us if we want to succeed as coaches, then we should start pursuing those coaching courses at a very early age so that we enjoy doing it. And I did so because by the year 2000, I had already achieved the highest level of coaching in volleyball in the world. And I was still a player for the national team. But I was even more qualified than the current coach who was coaching the national team. My first contact with the national team as an assistant coach was in 2003, where I came in as an understudy of Gilbert Ohanya. But as a head coach, I was given the first major assignment in 2005, and that was to take the national team to the Africa Cup of Nations in Abuja, Nigeria. And it was a tall order for me because that was a big tournament, and being in Nigeria, where so many fans, many people making noise, I'm still a very young coach. In fact, I was almost the age of some of the players that I had. But I just gave myself confidence. And it was tricky for us because we were going to play Nigeria in the finals. Nigeria by then was a very, very strong team. They were at home I can even surprise you because even as we were in the changing room, that day for the finals, Nigerians were already putting on T-shirts written 205 Africa champions. They were given T-shirts already printed to try them out before the match ended. So when it came to the field, things went haywire. We beat them 3-1. I don't know where the T-shirts went. And that made me feel like I've done something. At least I've done something. And I've never looked back. As I've told you, Africa Cup of Nations is a biannual event. I've played 5 times and won all of them. I think it's having a strategy because from my own experience and from what I've learned by talking to other coaches, top coaches of the world, because we really talk on the internet, I try to bring in new things every day. And whenever you get a player who you think is talented, it's what you as a coach put in that player, not what that player has for herself or himself. So me, I do a lot of scouting. I look at what people are doing and what we should do, and I try to change my training every day. Volleyball is a dynamic sport whereby it changes every day. So we try to bring in new things every day. And that has been something that most coaches lack. They just believe in what they know. They don't want to do research and bring in new ideas. Because when you have a new set of players, you don't need to teach them the old things that you're teaching the senior players who have left. You need to bring them up with new things. When I came to the national team, I found the national team had so many problems, and you could find that anytime we were training, players were going on strike because of lack of being paid their allowances and being taken to camp. There are so many strikes. But I remember one time I sat them down with them, and it was around 2009, and told them, look here, ladies, some of you have a career ahead of you, looking at you. You can make some good money from volleyball. Please forget about these things that are not going to take you anywhere. Can we focus ourselves and decide to play? Whether there is money or there is no money. Because I was giving them an example of myself. When I was playing, there was no money. But we just played. I went for Africa Cup of Nations, I think 3 times as a player without being paid a single cent. But we went, played, and came back. It's so complicated. To coach women is so difficult. If I'm told today to choose between coaching men and women, I'll choose men. It's easier to coach men. But the only difference between men and women is that women take coaching seriously, take training seriously, as opposed to men. Men still don't see the value. They don't understand the value. But women have understood the value. So it is interesting to coach the women. But again, staying with women for so long is not easy. Women have issues. You have to be the father, you have to be the mother, you have to be everything. But because I've stayed with them for so long, I've understood them and I live like them. You have to tackle issue by issue. When I see a player is not in the right mood, I have to talk to her and understand what the problem is. If it is something that can really affect her in her training, then I have to give her some time to reflect or to stay out and try to reflect, or even give somebody, a senior lady player, to try and comfort her or talk to her. So that they come back to their senses. But I don't just wish them away, that you're not in the mood to go away. No. I have to understand it, because I understand even in my house sometimes when you leave the house, you live with other moods. But me, I normally tell them, whatever you live with in your house, don't bring them to the court. It's hard work. I believe it's hard work because I really put in a lot of effort as a person. I'm so much committed, and I've decided to give 100% of what I do to volleyball, because even during my training at club level or even national team, I always insist on working so early in the morning. We normally go to train as early as 7 in the morning and sometimes leave late, even 3 p.m. because I believe when you do a lot of work, then you will see results coming. So it's purely hard work. No, I didn't choose to become a technical director. It's an appointment from the federation, because you look at everything that's happening in worldwide. In all the other federations of volleyball, they all have a technical director, somebody who is involved in or is in charge of arranging all training programs for the national teams and advising the technical officials on what should be done. So because of my experience and the success that I've had in volleyball, the federation thought that I was the right person to do that job. They needed my experience also to touch on the men and the juniors. So by being the technical director, then I'd be directly involved in all the national teams. And that's what is happening now. But it was not by choice. If you tell me today you want to coach or you want to be a technical director, I still want to coach because I love doing coaching. It's not sweet. After having won gold 5 times and then test a silver, it's painful, but you have to accept because things are changing and also have to make change because it's not going to be Lungao all the time. Lungao has to give space to other people also to improve, but I believe we are going to change. We are going to change as a country, as a team, because other countries have really invested. Cameroon has really invested. So is Egypt and Tunisia. And it's going to be a big challenge, even from the coming years, to be winning gold. It's not going to be easy. So we have to really go back to the drawing board and work out on a plan on how best we can recapture our titles. But for me, winning a silver, I appreciate it. Thank God, because at least we came with nothing. But it's not something that I've never tested. Okay, when I started the coaching pipeline, I never thought I'd ever win an African event. But after winning the first one in 2004, I saw kumbe hii ni kitu ya kawaida. And I never imagined in my life, and this is for truth, that we'll win anything beyond Africa. In 2015, won in Australia. So I think I've achieved more than I expected. I was more satisfied with winning in Africa, especially Africa Cup of Nations and Club Championship. I thought that was the best. Now that we won the 2015 World Grand Prix Group 3, I was starting to imagine even the World Cup can be possible. So it's still in my mind. My sons are just my sons. In fact, they know nothing about volleyball. They love football so much. They love football so much. They play football even at school. They even there are 2 of them are still in primary school. One is doing class 8 and he's playing for the school team. I also sit them down. Why don't you want to play volleyball? They say volleyball is boring sometimes. They want to play football because they're all the time they're on TV watching football and they enjoy football. For me as a sports person, I told them, okay, it's your choice. You want to play football, I'll support you. Okay, Dimosh is a name that I was called from a long time ago. When I was still a young boy in Nakuru, I was playing volleyball, maybe football kidogo. There was this heavyweight boxer called Dimosh, James Dimosh Omondi. I really liked that person. Now, apart from playing volleyball, nilikuwa nikitoka huko na tisha watu ngumu, unajua nitakupiga kama Dimosh, nitakupiga kama Dimosh, nitakupiga kama Dimosh. So people started calling me Dimosh. Hata mimi wakati nilikuwa mdogo, my t-shirt zile nilikuwa na train nazo, nilikuwa nimeandika saa nyingine na makaa, saa nyingine na kalamu, Dimosh. The name came in. Prisoner of volleyball. I think it's because I'm so much attached to volleyball. In fact, everything I do is volleyball, nothing else. Because sometimes over the weekend, like here in college, when we are not maybe practicing on Saturday and Sunday, and I'm free, I go to the college inside, because on Saturday they do sports. I play with the recruits, I train them, because we have those who are playing volleyball. I keep myself busy with volleyball. They go for lunch, I come to the house for my lunch, in the afternoon I go there to play with them. I think of nothing else other than volleyball. In fact, most of the work here I do in the house, when I do my research, you can even get bored. Because always in the internet, where is volleyball being played, which other coach is sending ideas, new things about volleyball. After my laptops, they're just volleyball, nothing else. My videos up on just volleyball. I have volleyball matches from all over. That's my life. I don't think it can change now.
Well, you have to give it to David Dimosh Lungao. He's one of the men that have revolutionized volleyball in Kenya. We now take a short break, but when we come back, remember, we'll be looking at the top 5 moments of the week, and also we'll be going back to Kisumu for the Dallas Sevens.